Lucia Cost, voice teacher here, very happy to be back with the series. And we get immediately into the topic of this week. As you see, I did say about the ego, narcissism, etc. No, I will not talk psychology, character, or true narcissism. Not only it's not my expertise, but especially we don't need to talk in this series. I want to address something always from the voice point of view, the voice production point of view. Of course it is a human thing, of course it is something of importance, but it's not up to me. I can have ideas, I can have strategies, I can have because you come to me and I say, okay, we work biomechanically, but you are a human being. So you bring with yourself your characteristics, your character, your way of acting, your experiences, the habits you have, everything. So of course we have interaction and we have a way of interact. And when you are experienced as I am as a voice teacher, you find some ways, you study, you look, you search for options. Yes, of course. But always with the center of being at the service of your voice, of your creativity, not of what I think you should be. This remains completely out of my studio and out of many professionals. We can able to work with anybody, but we put at the center the work. And this is the topic. How to put in the center the work. Well, I was thinking this morning about a singer that came to me a year ago in London, and great voice, great musicality, some technical problems, but it's just technical, it's easy to solve. And he was not that much connected while singing with his musicality and his creativity. I asked him, why are you on stage? What do you want from stage? Why do you sing? And he told me to have success, to be renowned. And yes, of course he can. Of course it's a goal. Of course it can be something. But I told him, why should people in the public give you what probably they want themselves if you don't give them what they can't by themselves? You have to give your musicality, you have to give your voice, you have to give yourself, you have to give the magic they can't do. So what is the point? Why I'm telling that? And I put in it as ego, narcissism, etc. for singing. Because singing is an activity, it's a doing, it's a giving something. It's not only performing, yeah, you're performing. It is part of your doing. But the most important thing is that it is not an identity. It is not I have a talent. It is a use of this talent. It is a growth of this talent. It is a blossoming of this talent. It is an expression of this talent. It is a doing. And without the doing, and without understanding what your talent is going to give, what your talent is going to act into reality, you don't sing. This is quite clear for piano. This is quite clear for guitar. You don't go and you play. You're not performing. For singing, somewhere I understand, but I don't want to understand. Also said, I don't know why. Very often it is thought to be something different. It is perceived as being something different. It is misunderstood as something different. In some sort it is. That's why we are talking about this there. You are your instrument. So in some sort your identity has and gives a bit the measure of your singing. But I prefer to say it gives the measure of your instrument. Then you have to play your instrument. When we start singing, we start training on any kind of level. The thing is, am I playing my instrument? Am I being a good instrument enough? Because there are parallel plans, and if you don't understand, the ego gets in the way. In biological terms, really directly, with the piano less, a bit, yes, of course. I will talk about Whiplash later. Yeah, Whiplash, it always comes back. I will talk at the end. But here, the thing is, if you have an ego problem, your piano is there. If you have an ego problem, your guitar is there. If you have too much of an ego problem, your voice is not there. Not only by your ego in the big sense of the ego. I love ego. You must love your ego. Oh, you can love your ego, okay? But the thing is, do you remember the systems? The digestive system, when it feels threatened, it closes the airway and it brings the larynx up. Yeah, it does that. So, you think of yourself, you have the airway closed, you have the larynx up by the digestive. And if it is not the digestive, it is the respiratory system. The respiratory system is wired to preferential inhale, to maintain the air inside. So you put yourself first and you don't play, your breath is blocked. Really, physically blocked. And then we will see how it is blocked and what characteristics it has, because they are also, there I am blocked. Yeah, really? In reality, it's a bit more tricky. You want to be dominant, to have success, to be the one, and not to serve your public. Your sympathetic system will be on top of your parasympathetic. Bad news. The afferent function of the parasympathetic, afferent means the neurological motor function to move your larynx muscles. The two nerves, because there are two branches of the vagus nerve, they are parasympathetic activity. And you have in the pelvic floor some parasympathetic activity. So you put on top your sympathetic system. You don't sing. You don't have the voice. Because the sympathetic system, when it's really on top, it also wired to paralyze the parasympathetic, override the parasympathetic. So it is not a question of character, etc. We let this out of the studio, out of the stage. We get professionals. We get to do an activity together. Not to judge you. We don't. So the thing is, if you see this photo is from the deep front line. And where I did put this sign, you see that there is a little part of the deep front line on the foot, in diagonal. What if I tell you that when you get defensive, you have a reflex that makes that into the foot? And what if I tell you that you have the correct phonation, also said the sustain, by the deep front line when this diagonal brings down the superior part of the foot. This is the foot, this is the ankle and the leg. This part pushes slightly down. and you can have the foot doing a work but coming down. When you do that, you have the voice. But there is a reflex for which. So the thing is that the ego really comes in the way. The ego in the sense of your survival. Then we have a social ego. We have an evolutionary ego. We have different hierarchies of, how can I say, of values. And it is on this episode. What values are you putting? First, you have to discover what you have. So, comfort zone, feel safe and in control. Fear zone, lack of self-confidence, find excuses, be affected by others' opinions. Learning zone, deal with challenges and problems. Acquire new skills, extend your comfort zone. Growth zone, live dreams, set new goals. As you see, I don't know how it is correct and precise this, but it's quite good or good enough to see that if you want to get to the learning or growth zone, you will have to pass through the fear zone. And for singing, it is really fair. As I said many times, the structure, sometimes when it has some biomechanics, problems or dysfunction, talks psychology and talks fear. When you want to put first the exhale, also said the subglottal pressure, you will have the system that will tell you, are you sure? Do you want to override the sympathetic dominance? Yes, of course I want to sing. But when you sing, sometimes you don't sing that well. Sometimes you get in arousal because your guitarist is doing something. And there again, the biology of the structure will tell you, I want to put the sympathetic system on top. No, I want to sing. So I can have the arousal of the sympathetic system, but I have to maintain the access to the parasympathetic afferent function. So you can't do that. And this is something we learn. How? First, taking away the dominance. But you want me to submit myself? No. I want you to stop being the one who wants to submit. But you want to change my character? No. I want to have you with your character effective with your voice. Also said, what you have to do to be you in those circumstances without losing the voice. For a pianist, he will understand. But for us, the piano disappears. It disappears. And I've not... No. You're in this status. That's the first thing for singers. And that's the first thing for which if we take the growth zone and this as a growth opportunity, we learn what other musicians very often eventually will learn later. Also said, we can get to a better capacity of creativity and access of creativity even before some other instrumentist, because we get on this refined cognitive level. And we have a little table. Why do I put compromise and I write nothing? You want to change me, you want to compromise during the lessons. When we say ego, it is you just want your way. You don't compromise. And especially, you do not see that when you're here and I'm your teacher, I don't remain where I am. I usually come where you are, a bit higher. And I propose you things there. When you don't compromise, you want me to be the perfect complete version of everything you want and your goal at your service. Know what? You're here, another student is there, another student is here, another singer is here, another singer is there. If I become what you want, first you don't learn that you are going to have perhaps something useful, and it is enough because you're getting better. Perhaps you're going to have something useful in someone that will be close to your goal. Okay. But the goal is that I give you something useful and that you learn to take this something useful. The ego judges where I am and how I bring to you this something useful instead of, oh, she's giving me that. So there are many different possibilities of being. I will take until she has to give me something useful, and then I will be very happy and grateful, and I will go on my way. And eventually, I will do as I've done, advising you someone else, making you have collaborations with someone else, or helping you back when you do by yourself. And then you ask me again, you'll find me there. So where was I? You don't know. Because our interaction is at your service. So you compromise, because I have compromised too. But I'm not compromising my goal. I'm not asking you to compromise your goal. I'm asking you to compromise the judgment into the interactions. Because simply, you see the interaction. You see the pattern that I'm bringing to you and how I have decided for myself and my students and my clients and my life that is, for the moment, the best way in which I can give you that. You compromise on not wanting me to be the perfect version just for you. Because perhaps it's not better. Perhaps I'm losing all my other clients. No, it's not an ego problem. You're not asking me something of egotistic. Of course you are. But sometimes, you don't realize. Because you get into the fear zone and you have to judge if we are doing a good path. The good path is by the objective feedback. And some of you told me nothing exists of objective. I have no idea. I don't get in those philosophical terms because, again, I'm more basic. I'm just working with you, with your biomechanics. And when you go on the street, you take care not to be crushed by a car, because perhaps nothing objective exists. But you don't want exactly to be in the hospital. So the thing is, I don't get philosophical, because we have some capacity of feedback and some capacities of objective, which are the data. Then we have to learn to read the data and to collect the data. But then we have a power, and we have many options. Good news, we have many options. So also, if you don't agree with me on what is objective, we agree on some objectives in common. Also said. Can you see the progression? Because the one who told me there is nothing objective, he also said, yeah, I see I'm progressing and I like what I'm doing. If you see you're progressing, is that a good thing? Also, the others see you progressing. Also, they start asking you things that they did not before. Also, they start looking at you and searching for you in a different way. All that is objective. The effectiveness is not only into your goal, but it's again, Can I do more rhythms? Can I really do something when I decide something? Can I have more repertoire than before? Can I do this kind of cover asking me that? It is not whatever, as I was saying to a student today. It is not, so if I do this and I'm better, I can sing everything, classical, pop, rock. Not exactly. Because for me, it's like sports. You are deciding to choose a sport. So it is into the parameters of your sport. Your sport has in common with some other sports and some other specialties. Okay, so again, it is not the whatever. The others will see what? That you are more skillful in creativity. It is another sign of progression. Patience. Yeah. Looks like, of course, you bring patience. Well, less than you think. Eric Cressy, last week, made a post on that. That the first thing and the most common is that the daily practice for athletes very often is a bit messy and not effective because they've not taken enough time, consistency, and insight to find it, have help by someone planning it, not changing it because it doesn't work so soon. It takes a little time. Also said, the tissues need time, the skills need time, the different skills take different times, biologically and also individually. Because again, we don't want to crush your ego. We want to exalt your ego. We want to exalt your personality. On some things, you're fast. On some others, you're slower. But it's not a problem. It's a problem if you stop, not if you're slower. Growth, also in the numbers, takes time. When you start something of success, you start from zero. At a certain moment, the mass becomes impactful. If you were not effective, you are below zero and you are not playing the game. When you start playing the game, it takes time, but it goes somewhere. Second, the map of your work. And this is an epoch-specific thing. Because we have access to information and ways of different, explicitations of being musician that I think have always existed. I don't think they are specific of now. I think that now we know more about them. Before they were more local. Also said we have sometimes some confusion about how to grow our skills because we have not understood what skills we need to do our work better or in the parameter we want to get or in the parameter we can get. Because sometimes we don't want, but we get higher than we thought. Yeah, it happens even often, and it's a very good news. Great gift. So the thing is, are you a studio singer? Also said, do you use everything technology can provide you to have a musical product? Because this, we have to see if you really need what kind of training, what kind of creativity you're putting into. Also said, the skillfulness are the same in the sum at the end. Must the instrument be the same? It depends. If you're as James Blake, who made that amazing first album, he used himself with a yet vision and creativity so powerful that did he really need in that moment to be able to perform for 1 hour singing? he needed to be able to get to this vision. Did he got to this vision by being a musician before in a choir? That I have no idea, because I have not all this time to see everything about the singers and the musicians I like. But the thing is, he has developed those into his character, into his life, with our experiences. I have no idea. But the thing is, he has done. He had developed that. He was not putting a narrow focus of ego, but I have technology. Technology will not provide what you are not providing. Also said your creativity and the effectiveness of your creativity. When you're trained as a singer, you're making this effective into your instrument. You become those, so you need less technology to be effective. But of course, if we also put technology, I have not only nothing against, but yeah, fantastic thing. So, can you get to that level of capacity, of vision, and of building by live singing? Yes. Can you get to that level without live singing? Yes. Still, you have to do that. Live singer, there are no way. You need to perform. You need to perform, you need to train your voice, you need to train yourself, because live singers really, really is a sport. For the body, for the mind and for the body. And there are no shortcuts. Then, do you want to develop your skillfulness as a studio singer? You can also decide and plan that you're going to be on the side in a cover band. And all the skillfulness, the vision are, you make some experience on you with a cover band, with your original songs, church performances, a choir, a second repertoire that I always advise. Always advise, because it's the complementary one. Map of your instrument. Really, I have to repeat that? But I want to have success. Yeah. But your instrument get blocked by the situations because you did not took care of knowing enough of your instrument to provide yourself to be effective. Those things, do you have to know all? But certainly you must not have too bad ideas about. And certainly you cannot take it as something that you really can ignore completely. If you don't take all those things into account, usually we say that you have an ego problem. Simply said, you don't take reality into account. Yes, I put it there. Whiplash, the movie. I didn't see this movie until students, and then after, and then some other students, and then some other students, and then some other students, and then again some other students. At a certain point you said, wow, I adore that movie, but you know, to be really a musician, it's really something hard. No, it's not so unhappy. It's not at all that unhappy. It is not at all like in the movie. There is one thing I agree in the movie at the end. In the movie, again, does it exist? Does it exist a teacher like that? Have no idea. I encountered some that had a bit of that, and I went away because they could not teach anything. They were not there to teach. They were really bad teachers. They were not exigent teachers. They were no teachers. So I was there to learn. If there is something to learn, yeah. If there is nothing, I don't know. I don't see the thing. But the problem is that in that movie, I don't think actually the teacher is like that. I have the idea, my interpretation. Completely can be wrong, of course, just my take in there. That it is a distortion of him. Why I say ego for Whiplash? He trains until he has the blood. Wow. So you cannot play for some days after. 10 days, 15 days. Wow. Really, really smart. You're not playing smart. You're not training smart. Also said in my vision, and why I did put that there, it is the root thing there that really, I didn't want to look at it because it was so not how it is done. Not how it is done. He doesn't understand that you start playing and then you go. You grow, you put effort, you put yourself. You go on consistency, on what you can do while you play. He brings the goal before the playing. The playing is a giving. You're giving while you're expressing yourself. You're giving the love that you have for the music. You're giving your talent. You're offering to music, to public, to songs, to your creative soul, to the universe, to everything you want. You give. When you give, you have back. And you grow. He puts the goal before. I will play when I will be the best. Have you ever seen a football player training by himself, alone, never doing a match until he's Maradona or Platini or Beckham or whatever, whoever you want? You don't become good if you don't play. And playing is giving your effort, giving your body, your energies, for the play. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Still, you're playing and you're giving. And you have back much more than you're giving. Okay? And we get more specific. I interpret the thing of the ego as the problem into mentorship. The mentor asks high standards and gives support and sustain. The ego, since it's a dual thing, dominance or submission. So, the mentor mindset is the combination, if you think in some sort, of what you find as the protector mindset and the enforcer mindset. Also said, the dualism of the ego, I survive, I don't survive, I survive, I let myself die, I'm a dominator or I'm a victim. As in many human activities, they get combined to get to something that is completely different. It does not take away the ego. It gets to a higher level of capacities. And that's why I'm doing this episode, okay? And I put in those. So the thing is that you have to compromise and to combine and to delegate all the time both the things. And this really, really, really changes completely the path, the patterns, and the outcomes. because it is not a yes or no situation. It is a constantly readjusted situation in which you see the process, and there is the growth, and there are the progresses, and there is the freedom to choose how much of combining differently, readapting to your growth capacity, etc. You see that it all comes into the compromise. It depends how you look at compromise. I look at compromise as a capacity of yourself, of managing yourself into the environment to be effective without renouncing to being yourself, and without renounce to be in situations in which you have to adapt to also others. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to say, I'll open back that.
It was just me. My mom is going to be better at this. I have a terrible memory because I also inherited the narcissism from my father, that I don't know anything about my siblings except for the part that I was doing.
Wow.
So it's true. It's okay. It's okay. I was moving to...
It's okay. She knows it. In what terms? It's her life. She will disclose, not disclose, doesn't matter too much. It's her life. And did that made her not being an interpreter or a singer? She's not acting that, as we call the narcissism, etc. Also, I think, I have no idea, but I think it's a continuum. And I think in some sort I have inherited from my father the same thing. It has some good aspects for myself because it has some really peculiar qualities of which I'm very happy and grateful of having them. We are different individuals. We have managed in completely different ways. So she says narcissism, and some says, oh, everything is labeled now. We are discussing how we act with each other and how we are. And so the great topic of narcissism, I think it's a great topic, but we are talking about to understand into the continuum what it is and what they are. And we call in the continuum everything narcissism. So if we make the shortcut, everything that has something of narcissism becomes the bad narcissistic personality. No, of course not. And especially, you cannot sing. You cannot, biologically. It doesn't mean that out in your life, I have no idea, I don't know, it's your life. There will be other people telling you. Here I'm telling from a singing point of view. She's one of the most generous singing. She's pretty fantastic.
I was moving to LA.
Again, read that. Researchers found that stimulation of the amygdala inhibits breathing and triggers apnea. When this research is applied to real life, it means that a fear-invoking thought or scenario stops your signal to breathe, inhibited breathing, and provokes a breath hold, apnea. The most interesting thing from this research was the discovery that breathing stopped without the person's awareness. Fear can literally take your breath away without you knowing it. Those are the topics why we do lessons. No, but I'm not blocking my breath. You're not singing. And again, objective feedback. You need objective feedback to understand when this is triggering you and you had no idea. Because we don't have perception for everything. Again, I don't know why singers are perception-centric. Pianists, no. Guitarists, no. They play. Violinist. I put the positions. And I try to find the positions. Yeah, singing is the same. So it is objective. You put something that you have to do and that you cannot do in apnea. So you control that you are not in apnea. when you feel fear, when you're in arousal, when you feel anger. Yeah, you had to wait so many things and the sound engineer is not doing exactly what you want. Yes, and we want you to perform no matter what. So you have to train yourself. Train in some way, but acknowledge it and think that you have to do something and grow into this. Really, intentionally. Also, when you are in that apnea, what happens? A fear-inducing situation leads to a concurrent breath hold and desensitized awareness of that hold. As the stress-inducing stimulus subsides, you become overwhelmed by the high levels of carbon dioxide in your body and a panic alarm is signaled. I'm shy when I sing. How many times I've heard that? Or any kind of other things. You have not trained, you have not controlled, not to fall into this trick. And when you start back breathing, you have the effect of the holding previously. Also said, you have too much carbon dioxide and you have your autonomous nervous system completely put not in a correct place. It is not singing. It is exactly that you're not singing. It is solvable. It is trainable. Small steps by small steps. How? Put in objectivity. Not just your narrow focus of your goal. You will get to your goal. But all those things get in the way. Really, all the time. Last point, because I said playing football. There was a post on Facebook and at some other places saying that it requires 200 repetitions, something like that, to learn a new motor skill. Only 20 if you're playing. I don't know how much it is true or not true, but looks like it is favorable to learning playing. It's also favorable to life, because we love playing. A different play everybody, but a play. From the ego point of view, play is entertainment. Play is when you are entertained and you're having fun. Do you remember the post? I will put it back. Your voice, your horse, and the rules into many voice studios that will not take you if you are constantly out of pitch. It is subsiding this rule, but it was a bit of a rule because they could not help you. It has, in the past, it was if you had not yet a direct, strong, well-presented voice. Why I put that here? Because there I made a case. What sometimes they are telling is that you're bullying your voice. The bully, is he entertained by himself and his actions? Yeah, and he calls those play. Is this play? No. Because if we want to define play, entertainment perhaps is not enough. Play, it's a well-structured and ruled kind of entertainment. Rules are basic. Not only there are rules, you accept willingly and quite happily to follow them. If you don't, nobody will have entertained in playing with you. So you fall again into the bully or the whatever thing. You must put effort. If you're there, play volleyball and you say, oh, it was mine, they will not play with you. Because you are not playing. How much effort? And there we start getting some specific. All the effort the effort that you decide to put, and the effort you are going to put is going to determine the kind of other places you are going to play with. But without effort, you're not playing, and nobody's going to be happy and to be entertained by the play. They will find it boring, insulting, not nice, not fun. If there is not the same level or medium, the same level of effort by everybody. You accept what when you play? That you want to win, and you get toward the win. But it happens that you don't win. And it's okay. And you don't make a disaster because you don't win. You win if you play. You learn also when you lose. So if you lose, as they said in the series for the tennis players, they're really losing all the time if they don't win the prize. Yeah, they lose, but in some sort they're a winner because they're making their life about that. It is meaningful to them. And they want to get there, but they can live also without getting exactly at the top level, as in all sports we see, and in all musicians we see. Again, no whiplash. It is plain. It is not imposing your identity. And I will finish with the fantastic Chaka Khan. Have a good week.
You have to have a certain head and a frame of mind, and your heart has to be in the right place. It's not about competition. It's about simply self-expression. And we all express ourselves differently. I get asked quite a few times, well, if you take these 5 singers, who do you think is the best singer? At first I used to get a little insulted at that question, but now I get it, I understand. They don't get it. I said, this is not a competition. This is, I picked them all. It was